A police officer's harrowing arrest story. The city of Brooklyn never truly slept, but on this particular night, the streets seemed eerily calm. Officer Daniel Carter sat in his patrol car, gripping the steering wheel tightly as he stared at the dark skyline. The clock on the dashboard read 11:47 p.m. His heart pounded in his chest, not from fear, but from anticipation. For the past 8 months, Daniel had been hunting one man, Lucas Mitchell. Lucas wasn't just another low-level criminal. He was a kingpin, the mastermind behind an empire built on drug smuggling, human trafficking, and organized crime. Every time the police got close, he slipped through their fingers, either through bribery, intimidation, or sheer ruthlessness. Tonight, however, Daniel had one shot to bring him down. A trusted informant had revealed Lucas's location, an abandoned warehouse on the docks, where he was meeting his top associates to finalize a major drug deal. The entire operation was carefully planned. A SWAT team was in position. The goal was simple: capture Lucas alive. Daniel exhaled slowly as he listened to the tactical orders through his earpiece. We move in silent. No sirens, no lights. We take them before they even know we're there. The radio went silent. It was time. The raid begins. Daniel stepped out of his car, the cool night air laced with the scent of ocean salt and damp concrete. He adjusted his bulletproof vest, gripping his gun firmly as he moved with his team toward the towering warehouse. Rain had started to fall, soft at first, then steadily, soaking his uniform. The shadows from the streetlights danced on the wet pavement. The officers positioned themselves carefully, surrounding the building. Daniel took point at the front entrance while 3 SWAT members circled to the back. Through the cracked windows, he could see Lucas sitting at a metal table, surrounded by 5 heavily armed men. An open briefcase sat before him, stacks of cash piled high. Lucas leaned back in his chair, laughing. "This city belongs to me, gentlemen. The cops, they're nothing but puppets. I own the streets." Daniel clenched his jaw. Not anymore. He gave the signal. 3, 2, 1. NYPD, hands in the air. The front and back doors burst open simultaneously. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Lucas's men scrambled, knocking over chairs and tables as they drew their weapons. Gunfire blasted through the silence. Daniel dove behind a crate as bullets whizzed past him, splintering the wooden planks nearby. His heart hammered in his chest, but his grip on his gun remained steady. He peered around the corner and fired, taking down one of Lucas's guards. Lucas, however, wasn't fighting, he was running. Daniel spotted him dashing toward a back exit, shoving crates aside in a desperate attempt to escape. "Mitchell's on the move," Daniel shouted into his radio. Through the firefight, as officers took down the rest of Lucas's men. The final chase, Lucas shoved open a rusted metal door, bolting out into the dark alley behind the warehouse. Daniel charged after him, his breath coming in sharp bursts. Lucas was fast, but Daniel was fueled by something stronger: determination. The rain pounded against his face as his boots splashed through puddles. Lucas was just a few feet ahead, his silhouette barely visible under the dim glow of the streetlights. "Give it up, Lucas," Daniel shouted. Lucas didn't stop. Daniel pushed harder, closing the distance. With one last burst of energy, he lunged, tackling Lucas to the ground. They crashed onto the wet pavement, rolling over as Lucas thrashed wildly. The criminal threw a punch, catching Daniel across the jaw. Pain exploded in his skull, but he didn't let go. He grabbed Lucas's wrist, twisting it behind his back. "This is over," Daniel growled, snapping the cuffs onto his wrists. Lucas let out a frustrated growl, struggling, but it was useless. His reign was finished. The sound of police sirens finally filled the night as backup arrived. Officers stormed in, securing the rest of the scene. Daniel sat back on the wet ground, breathing hard. The sharp pain in his shoulder reminded him that he was injured, but he didn't care. He had done it. Lucas Mitchell was going to prison for life. The weight of justice. As the storm passed and the first light of dawn stretched over the city, Daniel stood up. His uniform was soaked, his face bruised, and his body ached, but his heart was full. He turned to one of his fellow officers, who patted him on the back. "Hell of a job, Carter." Daniel nodded, watching as they loaded Lucas into the back of a police car. He had spent months chasing this man, sacrificing sleep, personal time, and peace of mind. But tonight proved one thing: justice wasn't about power. It wasn't about winning battles. It was about never giving up. And as long as he wore the badge, Daniel Carter would always fight for what was right. Moral of the story: true heroes aren't the ones who never fall. They are the ones who rise every time they do.